Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're doing another game review video looking at day 3 and day 4 of game action from over the NHL, with all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Hockey channel. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you all for your support whenever we do with you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below and don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below so you can also listen to this video. Now, sorry for a delay, but we are getting to all the games that happened over this past Thursday and Friday. So lots of interesting games, 13 in total over those 2 days, 9 on Thursday, 4 on Friday. So it's all those games here. So we'll start off with the game between the Leafs and the Devils. Devils looking to remain undefeated. Leafs trying to avoid going winless in their first 2 games. It was an interesting game, but it was a really quick start there for the Leafs. It was in the first period, they were able to get out to a 3-0 lead. Late first had the Devils on the board. They would trade goals later in the game, and this game wound up being a 4-2 Leafs victory. Fantastic W for the Leafs as they get their first win of the season, which is massive for that team, and improved to 1-1-0, while the Devils dropped to 2-1-0 on the season. So interesting note there. For the Leafs, Laurent had a goal and an assist, his first as member of the Leafs, so interesting note there. And Pacioretty, who scored the first goal of the Leafs season this year, also his first as Leaf. McMahon and Tavares also scored for the Leafs in the win, while Meyer and Bratt were 2 goal scorers for the Devils in the loss as they take their first L of the year. So an interesting game there, but a very entertaining game between the Devils and the Maple Leafs. Then we saw all the Senators come out, get an early first period goal in the power play from Tim Stützle. Then this goal here from Shane Pinto, remember score at Sportsnet, would give the Sens a 2-0 lead. In the second period, the Panthers would score to make it 2-1. The Sens would score another goal later on to make it 3-1, and that's where the game ended. Sens were able to win their first game of the year 3-1 over the Florida Panthers, who now fall to 1-1-0 on the year. For Ottawa, Stützle scored twice, and Pinto also scored, while Allmark stopped 30 of 31 shots in the Sens debut and the win for the Senators. So very fantastic showings there from Pinto and Allmark and Stützle and things like that, while forcing the lone goal score for the Panthers in the loss. So a bad loss there for Florida as they lose their first game of the year. Then we saw the LA Kings take on the Buffalo Sabres. Another really intriguing game. It was scoreless for most of the first half of this game. It was a pretty close, tightly contested game. Then a shorthanded goal from Alex Tuck would make it a 1-0 Sabres lead entering the third period. But then in the third period, it was the Kopitar show. Kopitar would score early in the third to make it a 1-1 game. They would score the game winner eventually and an empty netter to complete the hat trick and give the Kings a 3-1 victory to open the season off 1-0-0 and drop the Sabres to an 0-3-0 record. So interesting note there. For the Kings, Kopitar had a natural hat trick and Kemper stopped 32 of 33 shots in the win. And his debut for the LA Kings, well, like we said, Tuck was a lone goal scorer for Sabres in the loss. So bad loss there for Buffalo. Then we saw the Bruins have a solid game and thwarted a couple of comeback attempts from the Habs as they beat them 6-4. That was an interesting game. I think the Habs started with a 1-0 lead and a 2-1 lead. Then the Bruins were able to take it to like a 5-2 lead. And then the Habs would come roaring back, cut the deficit to 5-4 in the third period. Made it close, but an empty netter from the Bruins made 6-4 and gave them their first win of the year, as both teams are now 1-1-0 to start the season. For the Bruins, Elias Lindholm and Cole Kopik, both first as Bruins, had 3.8s with a goal and 2 assists. Kostelic scored twice, his first 2 as a Boston Bruin. Pastrnak had a goal and assists. Zadorov and Kula both had 2 assists, and McAvoy also scored for the Bruins in the win. While Gallagher scored twice, and Armia, Gouli, and Hudson all had 2 assists, with Anderson and Caulfield both also scoring for the Habs in the loss as they fall, like we said, to 1-1-0. So interesting note there. Then we saw the Utah franchise in a game where they probably shouldn't have won, wind up coming from behind and getting an overtime victory over the New York Islanders. It was an interesting game. I think the Islanders had like a 1-0 lead, a 3-2 lead. They had a late goal to give themselves a 4-3 lead, and each time Utah kept roaring back. They would tie it up at 3-3. They would tie it up just a few seconds after the Isles made it 4-3 to 4-4 to send it to overtime, where in overtime, thanks to this goal here from Dylan Guenther of Sportsnet, Guenther would score his 4th goal in the first 2 games of the season, and also would score the first ever overtime winner in Utah franchise history. Very fantastic stuff there for the Utah franchise as they start the season 2-0-0, while the Islanders drop to 0-0-1 to start the season. For Utah, Guenther scored twice, like we said, including the OT winner. Krause had a goal and an assist. Sergachev, Keller, and Cooley all had 2 assists, and Hayden Doan also scored for Utah in the win, while Duclair had a goal, his first as an Islander player, and an assist. Dobson had 2 assists, and Staplikov, who scored his first career NHL goal. Horvat and Pajot also scored for Islanders in the loss. So interesting note there, really entertaining game. Utah does take this one. Then we saw the Minnesota Wild get an early lead and hold on to down the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-2 in their opener and improve to 1-0-0, dropping the Jackets in their opener to 0-1-0. Boldy had 3.9 with a goal and 2 assists. Johansson had 2 assists, and both Kucherov and Eriksson also scored for the Wild in the win, while Kent Johnson had a goal and 8 assists, and Werenski had 2 assists for the Jackets in the loss. So a bad loss there for the Jackets as they fall to 0-1-0. Then we saw the Dallas Stars go to a 4-1 lead and hold on after a late comeback attempt from Nashville to beat the Predators 4-3 as they open the season 1-0-0, dropping the Predators to 0-1-0. For the Stars, Marchment scored twice. Stankoven had 3 assists. He looked fantastic. Hintz had a goal and 8 assists, and Robertson also scored for the Stars in the win. Well, for the Predators, Forswick had a goal and 8 assists. Marshall had 2 assists, his first as Predator, and O'Reilly and Novak both also scored for Predators in the loss. So bad start there for Nashville, but it was a really entertaining close game. Then a day after Pittsburgh got shut out by the New York Rangers, they put up a 6th spot on the Detroit Red Wings. After trailing 1-0 early on, they would, I think, get out to a 4-1 lead and would never really look back from there, being the Detroit Red Wings 6-3 to improve to 1-0, while they dropped the Red Wings to 0-1-0. For the Penguins, Bouvillier scored twice, his first 2 as a member of the Penguins. Carlson and Patterson both had a goal and 8 assists. Malkin and Crosby both had 2 assists, and O'Connor and Hayes, first as the Penguin as well, also scored for Penguins in the win, while DeBrincat had 3.8, 2 goals and 8 assists. Raymond had 2 assists, and Tarasenko, first as a member of the Red Wings, also scored for Red Wings in the loss as they fall to 0-1-0. So interesting note there, but it was an impressive win there for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the final game that we saw on Thursday was the game between the Sharks and the Blues. To start off with, we saw this fantastic goal here that went off a skate from Macklin Celebrini, or local score Sportsnet, but Celebrini scored his first career goal just a handful of minutes into his first career NHL game. That would open the scoring. Blues were tied shortly after, but then the Sharks would take 3 straight goals, 1 in the first, 2 in the second, to take a 4-1 lead to the third, but they would collapse. Blues would score 3 times in the third period and then once in overtime to topple the San Jose Sharks 5-4 in OT and start the season off 2-0-0, while the Sharks dropped to 0-0-1 to start the season. For the Blues, Kyrou and Thomas both had 2 assists, while Buchnevich, Faksa, Suter, both Faksa and Suter's first as a member of the St. Louis Blues, Falk and Shen, who had the OT winner, were 5 goal scorers for Blues in the OT win, while Celebrini, first goal and point in the NHL, and Toffoli both had a goal and 8 assists, and Goudreau and Zetterlund both also scored for the Sharks in the losses. They fall to 0-0-1 to start the season. So an interesting game there, but the Blues do remain undefeated to this point. Then we saw an interesting game between Tampa Bay Lightning and the Carolina Hurricanes to start Friday's action off. It was supposed to be a home and home, but due to the hurricane over in Tampa, the second half of that home and home in Tampa was postponed for Saturday. So interesting note there. But we saw the Hurricanes open the scoring, and then 4 straight goals, including 3 in the third period from Nikita Kucherov, would help the Tampa Bay Lightning down the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1 to start the year 1-0-0, while the Hurricanes start 0-1-0. So interesting note there. Kucherov had, like we said, the natural hat trick and a 4.8 with 3 goals and 8 assists. Hedman had 3 assists. Gensel had 2 assists, and Point also scored for the Bolts in the win, while Stahl was a lone goal scorer for the Hurricanes in the loss as they fall to 0-1-0 to start the season. So a bad loss there for Carolina, even though it was close for most of that game. There were 2 empty netters from Kucherov. Meanwhile, in the next game we saw on Friday, it was between the Winnipeg Jets and the Chicago Blackhawks. Hawks got a second period goal from Donato, which gave them a 1-0 lead, and they were able to hold on to that lead for most of that third period. But then in the last minute of the third period, Sheffield scored to set it to overtime at a 1-1 game. And in overtime, Sheffield would score again to give the Jets a 2-1 overtime victory, come from behind overtime victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. They improved to 2-0-0. Hawks dropped to 0-1-1 to start the season, so battle set there for Chicago. We saw Sheffield score both goals, including the OT winner, and Hellebuyck stopped 25 of 26 shots he faced in the win, while Denal was a lone goal scorer for the Hawks in the loss as they fall to 0-1-1 on the season. So interesting note there. Then we saw a couple of interesting late night games on Friday. First, it was a battle between 2 undefeated teams in Vegas and St. Louis. The Golden Knights would give up the first goal just as they did in their first game, but then storm back with 2 goals. One from Jack Eichel, and another this beautiful goal here from Ivan Barbashev. That top line for Vegas is clicking. Going into Saturday's game action, only 5 or 6 players had 5+ points. 4 of them were Golden Knights. Theodore was, Eichel was, Stone, and Barbashev. With Theodore and that top line for Vegas is clicking right now, and the Golden Knights look deadly offensively, so they were able to take a 2-1 lead. They would score another goal in the second period to make it a 3-1 lead. Blues would cut the lead to 3-2. They would score again in the third period to make it 4-2. Blues would score a goal with about 5 minutes left to make it 4-3, but that's as close as they would get. Blues do lose to the Golden Knights 4-3. Knights improved to 2-0-0 and remain undefeated, while the Blues lose their first of the season and drop to 2-1-0. So interesting note there. For the Golden Knights, Eichel, Theodore, and Barbashev all had goal and 8 assists. Stone had 2 assists, and Roy also scored for the Knights in the win, while Buchnevich had 3.8 with 2 goals and 8 assists. Kyrou had 2 assists, and Thomas also scored for the Blues in the loss, as like we said, they suffered their first L of the year. So interesting note there. And then the first game of the season for Philadelphia Flyers, they'll pull off a come from behind victory. They were down 1-0 and 2-1 this game, tied up both times, and went to overtime overtime. It went to the shootout, the first shootout game of the season between the Flyers and the Canucks. The Flyers also got the first shootout goal, losing to the Vancouver Canucks. But then we saw the Flyers score a couple of interesting goals, one from Konechny, one from Frost, and they would wind up winning in the shootout 3-2 over the Vancouver Canucks to start the year 1-0-0, while the Canucks fall to 0-2 to start the season. So interesting note there. For the Flyers, Frost and York were 2 goal scorers in regulation, while Konechny and Frost were 2 goal scorers in a shootout win for the Flyers. While for the Canucks, Blueger and Höglander were 2 goal scorers in regulation, and DeBrusk was the lone shootout goal scorer for the Canucks in a shootout loss. So they fall. It was an interesting game. It was a hard-fought game, but it was the Flyers to come with the shootout victory. So all in all, some interesting things there. One of the most surprising things that happened, in your opinion, for over the Thursday and Friday? Are you surprised the Knights started out 2-0? Are you surprised that the Sharks lost that first game? Are you surprised Utah's up to 2-0, at least as of Friday night? Are you surprised that Ottawa down Florida? Are you surprised that the Montreal actually gave Boston a run for their money? Are you surprised that Vancouver lost again in overtime to a lower end team in Philadelphia? Definitely. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of these game actions from our past couple of days down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk for today. If you like this video, if you're to subscribe down below. Thank you all your support. We're now to without you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't leave a comment down in the comment section below so you can also listen to this video. Also a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And come see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.